I still remember the way she looked at me the first time, as if I was the only person in the world who mattered. Her name was Eliza. She wasn't the kind of woman you meet every day. Something in the way she moved, the way she laughed softly behind her hand, made you feel like she was letting you into a secret only you deserved to know. We met in the rain. Typical, right? But it was real. I had missed my bus, standing under a half-broken shelter, cursing the storm. And then she appeared, drenched but glowing. Her umbrella was broken, so I offered mine. She accepted with a shy smile. We walked half the way in silence before she said, "I usually like the rain. Just not when I'm alone." I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. We exchanged names, numbers, and some kind of unspoken promise. What followed were the best 3 months of my life. We weren't rich. We weren't living in some fairy tale city. But Eliza made everything feel like a movie. She'd wake me up with her playlists, her hair messy, coffee in one hand, a hoodie far too big for her draped over her shoulders. We'd stay in on Sundays, eating cereal from the same bowl and binge-watching crime documentaries. It was domestic bliss, the kind you don't realize is rare until it's gone. But there were signs. There always are. The texts she'd ignore. The late nights at work. The way her eyes would dart away when I asked if everything was okay. One night, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up. A message. Just one. "Miss you. When can we talk?" It was from a guy named Zach. I felt a chill down my spine, but I didn't open it. Not yet. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. But the seed was planted. The next few days, I tried to pretend everything was fine. I smiled when she kissed me, laughed when she teased me, held her close at night. But my mind was screaming. Every silence between us was a question I was too afraid to ask. Until I did. "Eliza, who's Zach?" The way she froze, her fingers still holding her fork midair, told me everything before she even opened her mouth. "He's someone I used to know." Used to. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But when she said it, her voice cracked. And it wasn't just guilt, it was grief. Grief for something she hadn't let go of. After that night, nothing was the same. She said the name Zach like it hurt to say it. Like it was stitched into some old wound that never truly healed. I watched her closely, how she avoided my eyes, how her shoulders dropped like she was preparing for war and surrender at the same time. "He was a part of my life before you," she said, sitting on the edge of our bed, legs crossed tightly, hands clenched. "It's over. I swear." But if it was over, why did her voice sound like it was trying to convince herself, not me? I didn't press that night. I just nodded and said, "Okay." But I couldn't sleep. That's when I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her phone. I hated myself for it. But what I found was worse than anything I could have imagined. She had deleted most of the messages, that much was obvious. But not all. One thread, missed during her cleanup, was still there. It was from 2 weeks ago. "Zach, I still remember the curve of your back when you slept on my chest. Please don't pretend you don't miss it too." "Eliza, stop. I'm trying to move on." "Zach, trying, but not doing." And then her reply that twisted something inside me. "Eliza, you always knew how to make me weak. But I can't go back. Not yet. Not yet. Not never. Not leave me alone. Just not yet." I sat in the darkness, holding her phone, her soft breathing behind me like a cruel lullaby. I felt like a guest in my own home, like the walls around me were whispering lies. The next morning, I didn't confront her. Not because I was afraid of the truth, but because I wanted to see what she would choose. If she would confess. If she would fight for us. If I even mattered in the way I thought I did. She made pancakes. Kissed my cheek. Called me babe. It was all too normal. Too calm. Like we weren't standing on the edge of something burning. "Want to go to the lake today?" she asked, brushing syrup from her lip. I said yes. What else could I do? At the lake, we sat on the pier with our feet dangling over the edge. She leaned into me, her head on my shoulder. For a moment, I almost forgot everything, until her phone buzzed again. She didn't look at it. But I did. Zach again. I need to see you. Just once. And this time, she replied right in front of me, thinking I wasn't looking. Tonight. Just one last time. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. The world shifted sideways. The water below blurred. That night, I didn't stop her. She got dressed quietly. No makeup. Hair in a loose ponytail. She said she was going to see a friend from college. I just nodded. As she stepped out the door, I watched her back, familiar, beautiful, and suddenly completely foreign. And I followed her. I followed her like a ghost. My car kept a safe distance. No headlights. No sound. Just enough space to see where she was going, and somehow enough foolish hope to believe I was wrong. She drove across town to a part we rarely visited. Too many memories from her old life, she once said. I thought it was trauma, but maybe it was nostalgia. She pulled up to an old, ivy-covered apartment building. He was waiting at the door. Zach. Even from across the street, I knew it was him. Tall, confident posture, slightly slouched shoulders like he carried years of bad decisions with too much pride. She stepped out of the car, and for a second, just a second, she hesitated. Then she smiled. She smiled. I had seen that smile, lived in that smile, believed in it, and now it wasn't mine. They didn't kiss, but they hugged like two people who didn't want to let go. The kind of hug that's not about the arms, but about the past holding you in place. They went inside. I sat in my car for 47 minutes. Yes, I counted. Not because I needed to know how long she stayed, but because I needed something to hold on to. Something measurable while my world quietly collapsed. At minute 48, she came out. Alone. No kiss. No touch. No tears. But she didn't look relieved. She looked gutted. Like she had made a decision, and it had cost her more than she expected. She didn't see me when she got back to the apartment. I was already inside, sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting. She walked in, hung her jacket, kicked off her shoes, then froze when she saw me. "You're home early," she said, trying to sound casual. I didn't answer. I just looked at her. "Where were you, Eliza?" Her eyes darted. Her lips parted. And then the lie. Maya's. She needed help with. Don't. The word came out sharp. Too sharp. She flinched. It was the first time I'd raised my voice to her. First time I didn't catch her fall before it began. "I followed you." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I continued. "I saw you hug him. I watched you walk inside his building. I waited. 47 minutes, Eliza. I watched you walk out. Alone." She sat down on the floor like her knees gave up. "It wasn't what you think." "Then what was it?" I asked, almost begging. Because all I see is a woman I love more than my own skin walking back to a man who clearly isn't her past. Silence. Then, finally, she spoke. "He was my first everything, you know. First kiss. First love. First heartbreak. We were kids, stupid and passionate. And broken. He cheated. I cried for months. Then one day I stopped. But clearly not forever." She shook her head. I didn't go back to fall into his arms. I went back to close the door. For good. He messaged me for months. I ignored him. Then I got scared that if I didn't say it to his face, part of me would always wonder. I wanted to believe her. Hell, I almost did. "You lied to me, Eliza." That's what hurts the most. Not Zach. Not the hug. The lie. You made me feel like home and treated me like a hotel. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to. I didn't know how to explain it. I thought I could handle it quietly. I stood up. You wore a lie like perfume and expected me not to smell it. That was the moment I knew something had shifted. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. I need air. And I left. I didn't go far that night. just enough to be somewhere she wouldn't look. I sat in my car outside a closed gas station, watching raindrops crawl down the windshield like they were racing toward nowhere. Every sound, every memory of her voice, echoed like a ghost I could not run. I didn't sleep. And when I came back the next morning, she was gone. Not just out running errands, gone. Gone, gone. Her things still there. Her clothes. Her toothbrush. Her books, half-read and marked with receipts. But her phone was missing. Her keys. Her scent. I waited all day. Tried calling. Messaged her. Nothing. Day turned to night. The silence stretched like a rubber band, tighter and tighter until I couldn't breathe. I kept checking the door like a dog waiting for its owner, convincing myself she'd walk through it any second with an apology and some explanation. But she didn't. 2 days passed. Then, on the third, I got a message from an unknown number. No name. No greeting. Just 5 words. Please stop looking for me. I stared at the screen for minutes. Hours. I don't even remember. I replied only once. Tell me it was real. Any of it. Just that. She never answered. That night, I went to the apartment building again. Zach's place. I didn't have a plan. Just rage and heartbreak as co-pilots. He opened the door with a face full of surprise and half a smirk, the kind you want to wipe clean. You got some nerve, I said, stepping inside without waiting for an invite. He didn't stop me. I assume this is about Eliza? Where is she? He laughed, like I was a naive kid still holding onto fairy tales. She's not here, man. She left. Did you tell her to? No. But I didn't stop her either. There was something chilling about how calm he was. Like this was routine for him, breaking things he never bothered to build. What do you want from her? I asked. Why keep pulling her back? Because she lets me. That hit harder than I expected. He leaned against the counter, sipping something dark from a chipped mug. You don't get it. Eliza doesn't belong to anyone. She wants to feel safe, but the second it gets too quiet, she runs toward the chaos she swore she hated. That's who she is. That's who she'll always be. I clenched my fists. You don't get to define her like that. He tilted his head. Don't I? I've known her for 10 years. You've had, what, a few good months and a shared playlist. That's when I realized something important. He didn't love her. He possessed her. And I was in danger of doing the same. I left. No punches thrown. No threats. Just the unbearable weight of knowing I had tried to hold on to someone who wasn't ready to be held. Back home, I opened her favorite book. Inside, tucked between 2 pages, was a photo. Us. In the park. Her head on my shoulder. Eyes closed. The kind of smile that looks like safety. On the back, she had written a date and 1 sentence. You made me believe again. I sat there, staring at those 6 words, wondering if she meant them, and if believing was ever enough. 2 weeks passed. Each day without her felt like a chapter 1 was forced to read over and over again, never understanding the plot, only memorizing the pain. I didn't try to find her anymore. After that last message, I knew she had built a wall she didn't want me to climb. And maybe, just maybe, I was finally starting to respect that. But healing isn't linear. Some mornings I'd feel okay. I'd make coffee, feed the neighbor's cat she used to love, even laugh at a meme she would have sent me. But then I'd find her sock under the bed, or smell her shampoo on the pillow. And suddenly I was back in the ruins. Then one night I got a letter. Not a text. Not an email. A handwritten letter. The envelope had no return address, just my name in her handwriting, the kind that always curled the Y's at the bottom like tiny hearts. Inside were 3 pages. I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, but for what I couldn't do. I loved you. I need you to know that. You made me feel seen in a way I didn't think was possible. You didn't try to fix me, you held space for me. And that scared the hell out of me. Zach wasn't about love. He was about unfinished stories. I had to see him one last time to know that door was really closed. But when I walked out, I realized I couldn't come back through yours without staining everything pure between us. I'm broken in ways I still don't understand. And maybe you're too, just in quieter ways. You deserve the version of me I'm still trying to become. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I loved you too much to destroy you with my chaos. I don't know where life will take us. Maybe we'll pass each other in a bookstore 5 years from now. Maybe we'll smile politely and keep walking. Or maybe we'll sit down, order 2 coffees, and finally talk like all the years between us were just a breath. But until then, live. Don't wait for me. Don't hate me. Just remember me kindly. Eliza. I read that letter dozens of times. Cried. Raged. Smiled. And eventually, I understood. We were 2 people who had found each other in the middle of our own storms. And for a brief moment, we built something that looked like shelter. But maybe we were only ever meant to be a rest stop. Not a home. She loved me. I loved her. But we loved each other in different languages, and neither of us ever learned how to translate. Epilogue. 6 months later, I sat at that same coffee shop where we met. The rain fell the same way, soft and constant. I wasn't waiting, just remembering. A girl at the next table smiled at me. Not Eliza. Not even close. But warm. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough for today.